Hey there YouTube, Twofinger here. I know I already have a video on this, but I made another one. So this is the magnetic stir plate on the cheap. So you have to order a magnetic stir bar. This one is made out of Teflon and it has two magnets in it on each side. This is food safe, it's neutral, it's made out of Teflon so you can run it. You know, like I mix Kool-Aid in my magnetic stir plate. You can use this for chemistry or making your own e-liquid if you vape. So this is a very cool tool to have. Now, the ingredients for this, of course, you need the magnetic stir bar. You need some sort of a DC or AC power supply. I used a little switch. The chassis, I got some old placemats that I used on mine. Two rare earth magnets and then a larger rare earth magnet. This came out of a hard drive. This is a big, powerful, heavier one. And then this is a little plastic tray. You could use any kind of box. You could use a cardboard box. You could use a cigar box. And then a computer fan. I have a switch here to turn it on and off, and that's about it. So as far as the construction, I took the box. It eyed out. It looked like it would really work well for this size. You know, it was the right height. And you put a cross with a Sharpie and then laid the fan down and centered it on those lines. Use the drill to the fan as a guide, because there's these holes where you mount it up, and then I used some PC screws that were for the fan to mount it in. Now mine, I know a lot of guys will not drill this big hole. You don't have to. If you lower the fan, you just have to have clearance because you're using hot glue or epoxy, whatever your glue of choice is, to affix this magnet to the spinning part of the fan, the center. Okay? So if I were to just bolt this right on here and I didn't cut this hole out and I glued these magnets on here, they would be scraping on the bottom of this. So to get around that, you could put a couple washers on each thing and drop the fan down, or you could just cut the hole and have the magnet stick up. And then as I went, I quickly realized that with getting it to spin, you know, a lot of guys will build a voltage regulator circuit. You can get these PWM controller is really the way you want to do it. It's a pulse width modulation circuit. You can get voltage regulators. You could use a dimmer switch. Any way you can reduce current. The LM317 circuit, I played around with that. I ended up thinking that just using this was enough, and I removed the LM317 circuit. And this is just a Radio Shack multiple voltage adapter. It runs 1.5 to 12 in steps of 1.53, 4.56, 7.59, and 12 at 300 milliamps DC output. And there's a little switch here. So what I found was if you ran it at the full 12 volts, it would go so fast that these weak magnets would, they couldn't spin this fast. This didn't want to spin fast enough. So it broke free and it would rotate. It would sit there instead of spinning and go rotate like this from the magnetic field. So when I added this heavier duty, stronger magnet into the equation, you just place this on and you center it. Adding that magnet made it stronger pull to make sure that this didn't do that rotating thing. So if you're going to make one of these on your own and you're going to order the magnets off eBay, get the 5mm circle ones that are maybe 3 millimeters thick, or some substantial magnets, or even something like a big bar. But what I'm saying is, if you run into issues where it's not enough and your bar is spinning rather than spinning in a circle, that's what you need to do, is up the power of the magnet or lower your voltage. So it's kind of a balancing act between all of that. When I added this magnet into the mix, it became too tall. So I cut a piece of cardboard here, a piece of cardboard there, another piece of cardboard there, and then I used 3.5-inch masking tape all that together. Then I folded a placemat. I cut a placemat in half, folded that, cut these holes in it, and then glued that down here. So it sits pretty high now. So here's a Pyrex, and we've got the magnetic stir bar. I'm going to set this on here kind of in the middle and drop that bar in here. Plug this in, setting on 3 volts, and hit the switch. So as you can see, so why don't we go ahead and turn that on again, and we'll try upping the voltage. We'll see if we can get this thing to go squirrely. Actually, what I'll do is, would you take the camera again? I'm going to remove this the main magnet, and then I can get it to go squirrely, no problem. So see, now even at 3 volts, it won't stay on. 3 volts is it's too much speed for it to. And I mean, that's the thing with one of these. The natural speed of the fan might actually even be too much that what you need. I mean, it depends on the viscosity of your liquid. It depends on how much liquid you have. If I fill this up to the top, it's going to be more pressure on that thing. Now watch this as I see how I'm pulsing this now, and it's letting it, it's not breaking free. We're pulsing it, it's at 3 volts. You can hear me clicking the switch on and off. So that PWM switch, that pulse modulation, that's what that circuit does. Okay, they say it's pulse width. Well, it's basically turning the switch on and off. So you could build an oscillator that's a square wave oscillator. If you set that at a low frequency, that would run this probably. It depends on the output voltage, you know. I'm not sure about running motors off of an oscillator, but I know that they have PWM motor controls. That those circuits are, that's what they're for. So your options are get a bigger magnet, lower the voltage. You can get the LM317 voltage regulator circuit. Even like, I find really the best would be to, I would like to put the LM317 circuit back in here and have it utilizing this. So no matter what, if I wanted to have some, you know, glue with gravel in it and stir that, I could work my way up and increase, you know, have a lot of power behind this and then run that PWM so it'll run. You know, maybe that's a little extreme, but you get what I'm saying. I don't necessarily want to just use this for one thing. So, yeah. It's basically a balancing act between your, how strong your magnet is, your stir bar, the strength of your stir bar, and they sell. See, that's the thing. The stir bar, that one was like $5.85. So I don't really have a collection of them. And you know, you could just take a Bic pen, a biro, cut it into, let's say, you know, 50 millimeters, and then you would cut a 40 millimeter dowel rod or whatever, and then take 2 3 millimeter magnets, put one in each end to make sure those poles were reversed, put the dowel in between them, and then seal it up with hot glue. Now, I wouldn't want to use that necessarily for if you were doing chemistry and you don't want to contaminate your substrate with plastic or whatever, you know, because some of that stuff, it matters. Like, you're only supposed to use stainless, glass, or, you know, Teflon. You can't use plastic. So just want to be mindful. But like, if you were just using it to make e-liquid, you could very well make your own. And those rare earth magnets are cheap on eBay. So this is a cool little project you can do. And like I said, if you run into it spinning and breaking away from you, it's a balancing act between what I said, the current, how much voltage or current you have, and the strength of your magnets. So I hope that that was useful for you. And there's another video on this channel where I made the first one back when I was vaping to quit smoking. I was a pretty bad smoker, and I vaped for 1 year. And we made our own e-liquid here. My wife helped me out with that. Thank you, Dana. And I was able to stop smoking. I do not miss it. How long has it been? 3.5 years since I had any nicotine. So the magnetic stir plate was a huge part of me being able to make my own e-liquid, and it's a very cool tool to have. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. And you know what? There was another video I uploaded today called Bongnado, where we had this thing full of water. We ran it up at like 7 volts, and it made this cool little tornado vortex inside of here that we filmed, the Bongnado. So check the Bongnado video out. That should be up here too. And peace.